So, who do Crawford should fight? Boots or Tim Tszyu? All right, so let's get into this. And I'm trying to do this with a lot of reasoning. So, a lot of Boots fans, I'm not calling you any other name but Boot fans, and a lot of aerosexuals, not aero fans, can understand where I'm coming from with this, right? Now, we just heard that Mr. Errol Spence, a young man, had cataracts. I'm not going to go if I believe it or not. You know the man been through an accident, hurt his right eye. You know the man had retinal in the ring, and he said, my eye, doing sparring. I think it's the same right eye. And then late news that he got cataracts. So everything, I guess, happened in the right eye. I'm not sure, so I'm not going to just assume, but I think everything happened in the right eye. So now I'm getting to the point like this, man. The waiting game. Because I don't think it's fair to Boots, and I really don't think it's fair to Tim Tszyu. Now, I know Tim Tszyu, he stays active, man. I like Tim Tszyu. He stays active, and I think he might be fighting Virgil, so he ain't waiting upon nobody, right? He's staying active. But it's not fair to Crawford. Because let's say, okay, now, they fought in August of 2023. No, I mean July. So you got August, September, October, November, December, January. December, the fight was supposed to happen in December of 2023. January, February. The fight was supposed to happen in February of 2024, right? Right? Then you got, he got to recover, right? They said it takes about 8 weeks, right? So you got, that's about 2 months. February, March, right? Now, if he recovers, then he have to train. And plus, besides training, you have April and May. That's 8 weeks of VADA. You forgot about that, didn't you, right? Because they're not going to do 4 weeks of VADA. So, out of competition is 8 weeks. Now, if they do the full 12 weeks, oh, man, April, May. Yo, this is going to be, if this happens in July, this will be a whole year that Crawford been off. A whole year waiting for Errol Spence. Now, I'm doing this nice for my Errol Spence fans, right? Because I'm doing reasoning. I ain't worried about the aerosexuals, but I'm letting you understand I'm doing this with reasoning. So this man that's 37, right, got to wait a whole year to fight this man when the fight should supposed to happen in December and it's supposed to happen in February. And February is a short month, right? That's like 28 days. You got to get VADA in and the full VADA. That means, yes, full VADA means full VADA. Not using WADA credible labs. That means all the labs will go to WADA. But we're not going through WADA's protocols and their testing. We're going through VADA testing. Isotope tests, HGH, EPO, whatever it is. They're going to test for all the substances. Not WADA. We're not doing WADA, but we're going to use their labs, right? So we got to go through all this testing. We don't even know if it's 12 weeks or 8 weeks, right? And if it's 12 weeks, that means it's going to hit like probably June, late June or July. That's a whole year, man. That's not fair to Tim Tszyu. That's not even fair to Boots. Now, this is where the reasoning come in. Because I'm not going to go all day with Errol Spence. He's a headache right now. And I just can't. I just want him to go somewhere. Fight or just let this man fight. Let Crawford fight somebody. And then you could do the fight later, man, when you get your shit together, man. It's not right. It's not fair. Father Time don't wait on nobody. But for some reason, you, Errol Spence, is making this man wait and age him out. I don't know what's going on at the last minute with the cataracts, but let me move on, right? So, I'm going by what Crawford said. And this is what Crawford said. He said two things. It's not what I say. It's not the emotions and feelings of Spence or, not Spence, Kaiserman, Tim Tszyu fans. And it's not the feelings and emotions of Boots fans. This is what Crawford wanted. The one that just turned undisputed at 147. Undisputed first welterweight champion. right? At 147 to hold 4 belts and also undisputed, right? He said 2 things that stand out in my mind, only going by what he said, not what I say. Listen now. He said, I got about 2 more fights in me, and I want big fights. It's only 2 things that stand out in my mind. I only want 2 big fights. Now, if he decides he want to wait for, who is this calling me? Get out of here. If he decides to wait for Errol Spence, hey, he's a man of his word. He's going to do what he got to do. But I'm saying, what are 2 big fights, right? Or if he beats Errol, that might be a big fight. He might get money, whatever, and then he have 1 more fight left, okay? So what's 2 big fights? Well, I see Tank, but we all know Tank is over there, and we don't know what Tank is doing, and we definitely know Tank ain't fighting no Crawford. So we're going to slash that out, right? Because we heard a lot Tank was blah, 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 I'll fight Crawford, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he ain't doing that. That's not in the picture. But that is a big fight. He brings a big gate. He's supposed to be a pay-per-view attraction. So, benefit of the doubt. Now, what's the other big fight? Well, Canelo. That's a big fight. But that's a superficial fight, right? That fight is a fairy tale fight. What's they saying? But I, myself, say that is an option still. And the option is not because it's Crawford's option. It's Canelo's option. And hear me out. This is reasoning. Crawford can't choose Canelo. Canelo got to choose Crawford. So let's say Canelo fights Jamal, right? Cinco de Mayo. Or he fights Magria, or he fights anybody, right? He got 3 fights at the PBC. That'll be his second fight. Jamel and Jamal, or Jamel and Magria, whatever he decides to do. We don't know what he's going to do. He has 1 last fight. Now, if he doesn't decide to fight Benavidez, and the only other big fight, because David Benavidez is a big fight, but any other big fight is Crawford. And if Canelo chooses Crawford, that's not Crawford's fault. And you can't blame Crawford for moving up to fight a big fight with Canelo. Because what everybody would say, Manny Pacquiao, nobody would be a fool not to fight Manny Pacquiao. He's a cash cow. Nobody won't be a fool to fight Canelo. He's a cash cow. Nobody, you'll be a fool. Nobody don't want to be a fool. You're gonna fight me. You're not gonna fight Mayweather. So these are cash cows. Hear me out on my reason. So the choice is Canelo fighting Crawford. If Crawford gets that choice, that's an opportunity. Now, so I see 2 big fights. I see those fights right there. Canelo, Tank, and I got 1 more fight. But is it between Boots or Tim Tszyu? Because like I said, I don't care what the Tim Tszyu fans are saying. I don't care what the Boots fans are saying. I'm going by reasoning. So now I'm saying to myself, damn, I would love to see that fight with Boots and Crawford. Oh my gosh, I would love to see that fight. But there's a couple of things that made this fight not going to happen. I'll just say 2 main things. The way the IBF disrespected, 3 things. Disrespected Crawford by taking that IBF belt from him. Just stripped him. Knowing, this is the second thing, that belt was in a contract. What Errol Spence. So Errol Spence has an opportunity, if Crawford chooses to have the fight at 147 again, to be undisputed. You took that away from Errol Spence. The IBF took it away from Errol Spence. If Crawford decided to have that fight at 147, right? But most likely it might happen at 154. I don't know. And if it happens at 147, I wouldn't give 2 shits, right? Because all this waiting is holding up the division. Crawford ain't holding up nothing. We waiting on Errol. So that's another thing. They took it away from him. And what did Crawford say? I'm only going by what Crawford said. Crawford said, F the IBF. So I see that regardless they did it for a reason for him to fight Boots or not, it doesn't matter. Because he got disrespected by the IBF. And I don't see him wanting to fight for that belt. Even if he's to move up and fight at 168 and fight Canelo for all the belts, right? If he decides to do that, he could drop it and say, I retired. Now, I'm the man in charge. I ain't paying no sanction fees. I won the belts. Here you go. I retired. I did what I had to do, win or lose. That's it. But for him to go to 147 and try to get that belt back, it's not really a big deal. Now, the other thing that's not a big deal with Boots, but I want to see the fight. And who chooses that? Just like Canelo chooses Crawford, Crawford chooses Boots if he decides to go that route. Or get a warm-up or just stay active. If he decides, I agree, I want to see the fight. If not, kick rocks, skedaddle, doesn't matter to me, okay? But the other reason why he might not choose that fight is because it doesn't sell. It doesn't sell. It's not a big fight. Crawford said, I want big fights. It's not what Crawford wants. It's not what Boots wants. It's not what Boots fans wants. It's not what Captain Fool want. It's not what anybody. It's not a big fight. So, if Crawford don't choose Boots, it's not that he's ducking. And I'm going to show you the proof right here that he ain't ducking Boots. Because if Canelo chooses Crawford, this man is doing the impossible. And he's not ducking Boots to fight Canelo. It doesn't make any sense. He's not a ducker if he's doing the impossible, going up 3 weight divisions or 2 weight divisions if he decides to fight Tim Tszyu. That's right. So if he moves up to 154, he have to go up to 2 divisions. If he decides, well, if Canelo decides, because we don't know what Canelo's next move is, but we know he has 3 fights, so he's on the 2nd fight. So this is going to take some time to figure out what Canelo wants when he has his last 3rd fight, right? So at the same time, we don't know what Crawford's going to do when it comes to Tim Tszyu or Boots. But we all know that Boots don't sell. Remember when Crawford didn't sell and he's supposed to be the B-side and look at his numbers? Well, the same thing is going on with Boots. Hey, I'm sorry to say it is what it is. He's got to prove himself. And that's what Crawford did. He proved himself. He had going down the aisle, Eminem. He's everywhere. He's on talk shows. He proved himself. He's a star attraction. And that's why he'll be a big fight with Canelo. It takes 2 to tango. So now, what's the other big fight I see? Tim Tszyu. And the reason why I say Tim Tszyu is a big fight, because he has a what? A country behind him. Also, he has a name. His father's legacy, he's right there with him. He's moving along. Everybody respects that name, Tim Tszyu. Everybody knows his son, right? His father was great, right? And he has a country behind him. So if it's an Australian fighting a Black American or a Black American fighting Canelo, a Mexican, they're big fights. And what I'm hearing Crawford say, I want big fights. So the only 2 fights, Tank is not out, it's out of the picture, is Canelo and Tim Tszyu. Die-hard fans like me, I'd rather see Boots fight Crawford. But remember, you're the one with the business. And telling the corp, well, you know, it's more business. This is a business, right? All right, well, this is a business. And if the business and the corporations say, that fight, Amazon, right? It's Amazon? I'm not sure. Is Amazon giving PBC a budget? Or are they going fight by fight? Because I think it was supposed to be Errol and Spence or Tank and question mark, because we don't know what Tank is doing. We don't know who he's fighting. Most likely it's Pitbull Cruz, but I'm not sure, and I'm not gonna, skip straight to that. I'm just gonna let it be and leave that man on that side over there, and we're gonna figure out what's gonna go on, right? So we don't know. But I'm telling you, listen to Crawford. Crawford said, I want big fights. He deserved what he wants because he beat Errol Spence that had 3 belts. He had 1, and bingo. And listen, if these sanction bodies want to strip him and take the WBA and take it. Crawford shouldn't be upset. As long as he got that WBO to move up to fight Tim Tszyu, it's all curry over here, man. It's all curry, right? And that's a big fight. So I just see Canelo and Tim Tszyu as 2 big fights. This is my opinion and my reasoning. Because if y'all talk about who sells and who don't sell, Boots don't sell. He's a great fighter. He reminds me of Crawford. I would love, as a boxing fan, I'd rather see that. I'm going to just be honest. I'd rather see that fight with Boots, with Crawford, than Tim Tszyu with Crawford. But remember the business, who sells, and who's going to make a return. What corporation is going to make a return? Is Amazon Prime going to make a return? Right? It is what it is. Or whatever network that's going to put that fight on. Right? Who's going to be the highest bidder that's going to take that fight with Tim Tszyu and Crawford? Or Crawford with Canelo. Right? So, because remember, the PBC made a 3-fight deal with PBC fighters. So, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm not going to bust my balls and my brains trying to figure that out. I'm just going by what Crawford said. Crawford won big fights, and that's it. And he got 2 left in him. So, if it's either Errol Spence and one more fight is either Canelo or Tim Tszyu, it is what it is. At one point, he wanted Jamel. But then the last thing I heard he said, he don't want Jamel no more. So I'm just going to put that out. Now, he has a right to change his mind if he wants to. Right? Everybody changed their mind. Look, Ryan Garcia, when I first came back from my bet, I made a bet with Benavidez and Boo Andre. Andre was on snack. The snack that people say it works all the time. It always works, right? But guess what? It didn't work in that fight with David Benavidez. So it don't always works, right? So I lost, and I made a bet, and I put up, and I shut up, and I shut up for a whole month. And I'm proud of that, because I did it twice. I won one with Crawford, and I lost one with Boo Boo. But I did it. That's the whole idea. I did it. I made it exist where nobody else did. So you want to put up and shut it with me? You best just act like you don't see me. Because we know that you're narcissistic, and you ain't going to go that route. Since you love boxing so much, if your boxer go down with him. If not, pretend you don't see me. Yeah, pretend you don't see me. Because I'm the one that put that existence. Big out to Big Knock because he took the bet and he lost, but he still won one with his subscribers, right? With his integrity. So, that's all I'm looking forward to. I'm not worried about Errol Spence. The only thing I'm worried about Errol Spence is he's holding up the division. Okay, Crawford ain't doing nothing but sitting back, working out, and waiting for Errol Spence. And that might take a year because we don't know if it's going to be 8 weeks VADA testing or 12 weeks VADA testing. We just don't know. 8 weeks or 12 weeks. And if it's 12 weeks, we could look at this fight around July. That's like a whole year. So, listen, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here for you to read between the lines. It's not what they say. It's what they're not saying. I'm not also here for you not to change your mind, but I'm also here to irritate your mind. That's what I'm doing. So I will hope to see the fight with Crawford and Tim Tszyu. That would be a great fight. That would be a nice fight. I love to see that fight. And the business will get a return on that because Tim Tszyu got a country behind him. Tim Tszyu got a country behind. You know what these Wakandans like to say? You don't know what these Wakandans like to say to each other back and forth? Did you buy the fight? Did you? You know why? Because we don't got no trust in each other. But they know that a country will stand behind Tim Tszyu, especially his father and his legacy, and he's moving on with his father's legacy. He's a big name. That whole country go. But what do we do to each other? Did you buy the fight? And that's what I did. When the Crawford and fight Errol Spence fight, you know what I did? And I always do this now. When I want to buy a fight, I prove it. I record and say, look, I'm pressing the button. Whether it's the Zone, Top Rank, or PBC. Look, audience, look, subscribers. I'm buying the fight. Subscribe. I bought it. It's completed. And I show it because these Wakandas are like crabs in a bucket. They pull each other down. And then you want to know why. Let me not get into that. Now let me get into that and the trust of these corporations, and they don't trust black people money, and they think they're going to pirate the fight and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that. Because like I said, I also pirate the fight. When you give me a fight that I want to see like Errol Spence and Crawford or Boo Boo Andre and Benavidez, I'm going to order it. But if you don't give me the fights I want, I'm going to pirate. I'm not going to, matter of fact, I don't even pirate. I just wait till the next day to watch it on YouTube. That's basically what I do. I don't look for the fight. I listen to the Showbiz, Coach Malachi. I listen to them like old school because I'm 50 and I could go old school, man. I could go old school and listen, them commentate the fight. I love that. I love doing that. It's not a problem with me. And then the next day I'll look for it on DAZN or whatever. I'll look for the fight. I'll see the fight. I'll see some clips of the fight. So, but I won't pay for the fight, basically. If you don't give me what I want, I ain't paying for it. You give me what I want, I would buy it. I don't care if it's PBC, DAZN, Top Rank, blah, blah, blah. Wherever you want, whatever network it is what I want, right? So, Tim Tszyu, I hope that you fight Virgil, keep active. Canelo, in a way, I want to see that fight with David Benavidez more than I want to see the fight with Crawford and Canelo. I'm just being honest, because I feel David Benavidez deserved that fight. So I really hope that he get that fight with Canelo. If not, and Canelo picks Crawford, hey, that's the fight that I would like to see. Crawford is not ducking boots because he's going to have to go and do the impossible. And what do we like to see? The impossible in boxing. Listen, I'm not here to change your mind here for you. I'm not here to change your mind. Get it right. Get it right. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here for you to read between the lines. It's not what they say. It's what they're not saying. And I'm also here to irritate your mind. Scram.